Has anyone got it?
Yes, we are.
Were you going to share your screen at the same time?
It's too much. It's too much.
How do you share your
It's
screen?
too much.
What's the simple? I've forgotten.
With a peer in.
Yeah.
It's just showing your
We haven't
screen.
like connected
What's the way
videos and anything on the laptop.
It should be.
Oh, there you go, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'll tell you what. I'll move this closer, and then we can see.
Sorry, they don't need to read the screen, really.
Really? I'll put it here, and then you've got a chance of reading the screen.
If anyone in that face, you watch your phone instead of watching us,
You're live, casting to the world.
What to do,
No swearing.
So, we're here to talk to you about the recent Angular Connect conference that we went to, for those who missed out. So we're going to cover all the key points of the conference, so you're not missing any of the latest information.
Thank you. I knew nothing of Angular Connect before going. However, I was expecting the greatest developer mind to be there, announcing new Angular game changes for the better.
So just a little bit about us. I'm Gary Burton. I'm a senior front-end developer at Empower. I work in the operations team, so I spend a lot of my time working in a whole bunch of frameworks. So I spend a lot of time with CMS and kind of popping in and out of everything. I also spend a fair amount of my time on servers carrying out DevOps tasks.
And my name is Gary, also. Gary Burton, Gary Scott. I work at Empower as a senior front-end developer. I work with Angular about 20% of the time during a 2-week sprint. Outside of work, all applications I create are made in Angular for no other reason than to strengthen my Angular muscle memory. Other than Angular Birmingham, I go to sites for reference such as Udemy, YouTube of course, and Pluralsight. What we wanted to get out of Angular Connect. Out of the big 3 frameworks, libraries, the other 2 will not be named. Angular is the one I've committed the most time to. So, is my future stable? Will Angular continue to evolve and innovate? Or will it become a tool that larger organizations become stuck with? And therefore, is my future likely to be maintaining existing web apps as opposed to creating new products? Is the likelihood that Angular will become unsupported in the next few years? I want to see what industries outside of Google and Empower, same sort of, business department, are using Angular, and also to make connections with other like-minded individuals, such as what I come here for as well. In addition to this, I was sent on a double mission, not only to learn the benefit of Empower, but also a mission from Angular Birmingham to go and get some speakers for this year. So I think I achieved that goal, got some connections, and hopefully, I believe that some have been set for this year. So great, we'll be able to question them and pick their brain once again.
So day 1 was mostly about the new Angular Ivy. What do we want from Angular? We want it to be smaller, faster, and simpler. So users care about these things as it allows them to render things quicker and use it on more devices. Developers care about these things as we want quicker build times and more usable APIs. And these are the goals of Angular Ivy. In Ivy, they're rewriting the renderer code from the ground up with tree shaking as the focus to make it smaller, faster, and simpler. Tree shaking ensures that unused code, normally from third-party libraries, don't make it into your bundle. So currently, in the renderer pipeline, we write a template HTML, which produces template data, which then goes to Angular Interpreter, and this is then pointed to the DOM, meaning that your template goes through a whole bunch of stages and condition checks to figure out what it is that needs to be rendered. With Ivy's rendering pipeline, we're going to go straight from the template HTML, template interpreter, and then to the DOM. So this new pipeline uses atomic functions, so we generate direct instructions on how to render the markup as we're creating it, allowing us to shake out everything that isn't being used with greater accuracy and efficiency. The main idea of atomics is to bring some sort of multi-threading feature to JavaScript so that developers can write high-performance concurrent programs by allowing them to manage the memory themselves rather than let the JS engine manage memory. The outcome of this is something that Angular community has been calling out for a long time. Massively reduced build sizes and faster load times. For example, a simple Hello World application with Ivy has its build reduced from 36 kilobytes down to 2 kilobytes. And you might think, why do a test on Hello World? But this Hello World test demonstrates just how good the tree shaking is, as there's barely anything used in the Hello World, which is how we can get it down to 2 kilobytes. Angular Ivy is going to be completely backwards compatible, so once you upgrade, you won't have to do anything to your old code to make it work with Ivy. But unfortunately, they didn't give us a release date of Ivy, so this is the URL where you can monitor progress and find out when it's going out.
Yeah, I believe it's like at 96 or 98% ready now. Google is testing it on all their applications. Any day now?
I think there's about 6 months left in GitHub.
So, day 2.
Can I ask you a quick question, or shall I hold this again?
Yeah, you want to ask?
So I've played the Hello World sort of example of going from 36 to 2. Are there any other kind of stats floating around?
That's the
like
only
real
one.
world and
So
in terms of like a real world app using
Yeah.
GRX and
that's the only one they mentioned at the conference.
I've seen a to-do app as well. Whether it was using NGRX, I'm not sure. But it's, again, heavily reduced, like more than 90%.
I think the focus of it is the tree shaking, so if you are using everything, you're not going to see much of a reduction.
So, after the talks, the workshops, the retro games room, and the Angular party, Angular had a party, like a bar, they had people just talking, drinking, like it's 10 to 5, it's quite cool. There's no DJ, but it's decent.
Sounds like Angular Burn.
Yeah. Angular Swap. One of the talks I recommend you watch on, we'll send you links to the actual the videos later, was a lightning talk. That happened at the end of day 1. And does everyone know what lightning talk session is? Yeah, thank you. Well, yeah, you know this? Okay, it's like, it's a collaborative session where a person is allowed to be on stage for like 5 minutes on a podium at a time, and they highlight any issues they're having, they showcase anything new that they've developed or a way that they develop, and it's open to the audience to then just come back at them and say, you know, this is what I can fix it, Google suggestions, things like this. This all happened on day 1. So day 2 I was buzzing, I was raring to go, got there early. There I am taking photos with all the big heads and different groups. There was, and as I said, it's like I went there to see what other companies were using Angular. So there was Ryanair. You can see Ryanair on there. There was we've also got is it AC or DC Cloud?
Cloud NC.
Cloud NC. They're coming here as well. Amazing thing. So I can't wait for you guys to see that talk. You know about that company. So the first talk we went to on day 2 was titled The Theory of Angular Ivy. This was a lot more of a heavier tour than the discussions that took place. A lot more of a heavier talk than discussions that took place on the first day, as Alex went more in depth with what Ivy is going to bring. To follow, we went to a workshop covering NGRX, coding alongside other devs, which was beneficial, and we were able to ask questions But the devs were asking questions that were maybe too shy to ask, and when everyone's coding together, yeah, that has to like that. So I've been working with NGRX at Empower, and I felt like I got a clear picture when I was there how it works. So it was good. So, but next part. So my background before I move on. I work in more or less the same departments in different companies over the past few years. I find myself supporting, more so in the past, user experience teams. So some of my tasks were prepping experiments for like A/B testing. We use tools like Optimize, Google Optimize, and Qubit. Yeah, but I've never done this on an Angular application. And also, all of these, good or bad, are third-party tools to implement A/B testing. So, A/B testing and white labeling was a talk I had to go to, and to see how to tackle implementing it on an Angular application. So, this is going to kick in. Is it still up? Does everyone know what this is?
I didn't know who it was.
Does everyone know who that was, or you don't know? That was Barry Norman. You remember Barry Norman? Yeah, he used to do like film reviews. So this is me, Gary Scott, Gary Norman. I'm going to do a review on this talk element. So if you just turn your eyes to the screen, this is a demo created by Unis that comprises of interchangeable components before Ivy. So this is what his demo of what he created. So does it work straight to the flat as well? No. You're playing it? No. Does anyone know how to do a video? We've done it. We've been doing it mostly on one computer, so we've never done a presentation. Yeah, it's on mine.
So, the links, everybody has the links? You can raise your hands for those who got them? Okay.
Anyone see? Yeah.
Okay, good, thanks. So, this is the interface. And you should have something ugly like that, okay? So, I'm gonna start with deploying the new, I'm gonna create a new rule, configuration rule.
But a little backstory. So basically what it's done is given out 2 URLs and you just split the group. And what he's saying
Half of us went on one, half went on the other. So I had one URL, Gary had the other URL, and we were seeing he was pushing up different things to our phones as he was talking, like live changing components on our phones.
Yeah. And I'm gonna create an audience percentage condition. So depending on my audience, I'm gonna switch the changes, switch components. And look at this here, at the network traffic here. Okay. And I'm going to use the new lists component here and the new chips search component here. and I'm going to start deploying this. Does it change? If it changes, can you raise your hands?
There we just switched out two components.
And if it doesn't work, you can pretend like it works and you just
pushing them out to the audience without us having to
Okay.
refresh the page.
Okay.
And everything.
Oh. Oh. Okay. And you see, the module was lazy loaded. And now, if you don't like it, I'm going to roll back. Good? So this works for A/B testing, but it also works for canary release. So you can release some component progressively, add some analytics on that component when it's loaded, okay? And you analyze that on your favorite tools for analytics. And now, I'm going to remove that, and let's try white labeling. So some of you must be on wishtag.io, and some others are on Firebase, okay? It's the same app, but I'm going to add new rules here. I'm going to put them on top. Work. The funny thing is that I had to implement drag and drop like 1 week before the CDK drag and drop. Just felt very fun. But I thought it was a joke. Anyway, so here I'm making a new condition on the domain. It's going to be conference wish.io. I'm not going to give you two different configurations because for the Firebase one is the Angular Connect version. So I'm going to put that. And they wanted a table, they said, and they wanted chips. Okay? Who's on this version? Oh, okay. And now, for the other one, we just want some ugly stuff like that. Okay, because they didn't pay as much as the others. Okay. So now this was about what leveling. Are there any people on Android here? Okay. So someone told me just before that people on Android were more nerdy than iOS guys, and they love dark themes. Okay, I'll do that. So let's create a new rule here, and the condition is the device, it's Android, and let's turn it dark and add WishTag logo, and maybe the Angular Connect 2018 logo. You like it? You don't? Let's swap it back. Okay. 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 And now, okay, but now iOS guys are jealous, aren't they? Okay, so let's turn iOS. Oh, sorry. Okay. It's good? Or, okay, you know what, Android guys, I'm going to put something else here. Let's change the color. How ugly is it? Good. Perfect. Okay, anyway, why don't we just keep in touch? I'm going to share the links so we don't have to copy paste them, and I'm going to disable this ugly thing here. Maybe.
At the end of the talk, we've got a link.
Is that cool?
Which will have
You got the
links
links?
to the repo.
So what was he using on the right hand side? What was the tool that he
So
was tinkering?
It's like something that he's made himself. So
Yeah.
we've got a link to the repo. It's called like WishStack on steroids is what he called it. And it's basically changing which components the page is loading via that.
So was he kind of insinuating that you as a company could develop that kind of thing for your own A/B testing, opposed to making that available?
And we'll go into it further.
Okay, cool.
But you could be like, put one thing out and then be like, actually, I don't want that out, take it straight back out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, based on what you said, yeah, so he's saying that companies can do it, and this is what he's done it. So he's done it. Basically, who he is, companies come to him with these sort of solutions. And so, yeah, we'll go through it now. So when we're actually in the actual talk, it was like self-lacing trainers. We were like mind blown. He was doing it. Like, wow. Before this demo, Yuri talks about a requirement from a product owner was to make a very simple web app in Angular. But as we have all experienced as developers, the app is live and the world's using it. However, like all good stakeholders, the product owner has some customer feedback. So they would like some alterations and additions made to the app for experience purposes. So the app's live and it's gone because we've sort of met the need. And product owners had a look at it now, it's gone live. Oh, can we just have some alterations now? So Unis discusses some of the fears as a company you face in releasing changes. So he's basically saying afraid of users' disappointment once changes put live, possible breakages, and also one we may have all faced as devs and warrants the following statement. We've been developing the change for a period of time, all seems fine, but when released to live, it doesn't work. And what is that statement that all great devs use when it works in local but not in live? Statement that makes product owners think you're an imbecile. Yeah. Works on my machine, and let's refer to the actual means. So, yeah, it works on my machine. Yeah, works on my machine. Yeah, it works on my machine. So
I didn't want to leave it.
yeah, you didn't want to leave it because kids, and it was on YouTube, so I didn't want to leave it. Think about our audience, keep developers out there. So, in addition to this, the Dick Dastardly product owner has a great idea.
How great would it be to release features one by one, progressively release depending on the audience, roll back features in case of breakages, and introducing white labeling? Can you make that?
But this started as a simple app, and you want now the product owner wants all this. So Unis suggests A/B testing to set and measure conversion, canary release, which is another word for progressive release. Yeah, like, as you saw with his slider, progressive releasing, a kill switch, or need to revert back to a format, not necessarily the original, but a format that would be. So like if you have, say, chat, and if chat goes down, what would we revert back to? Just show numbers or something that people could contact. And white labeling. He does this with interchangeable components. Now, without going through his code, and also you'll be able to watch the video afterwards, so not here, we'll give you this. He explains what he uses to do this, to achieve this. He uses Google Firestore for the rule. This is synchronized on all applications, and it's observed. The Angular component outlet to inject components dynamically, and along with the ng dynamic component package, allows you to use input and output on presentation components. This is an amazing tool as he shows us the lazy loading. You're disapproving.
That's amazing.
No, it was amazing. It was amazing talk because he shows us the lazy loading of services dynamically before Ivy is introduced. So when Ivy is introduced, you have to be able to do this a lot easier. Again, the link to this presentation will get at the end of our presentation. So, do you want to ask a question?
Yes. As you switch in these various components,
Yeah.
there must be a point when you're happy with all the settings, and then that becomes the release.
That becomes
Is
the
it?
release, yes. So what does he do then?
So because when you initially released it, you released 1.1.2. So, but this thing is that's a switching in and switching out of some of those components in the release.
So when is it set?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're going to eventually do another release, and you're going to want that.
The configuration
Yeah.
settings again. Well, he's showing A/B testing. He's showing the progressive releasing, which is canary release, and yeah, as you said, how he does it, I'm not sure, but it can be done.
You release with like all the variants in like different states.
So I guess the configurations need to be switched on if it's good.
I think typically what you do when you are happy, you you've done your binary release, everything's done, you've done your A/B test, one of the versions has won the experiment, you then go and clean up all the other variants and the old version and just take out because you're having to support two paths. So when you are happy with one of them, you just take the old one out, and you have to then kind of release that out and go, right, all of that configuration no longer exists. To roll back, we've actually got to like hard roll back to the previous version, but you can't kind of do your slider anymore and do that. But you do that once you're happy that has won with an A/B test.
Okay. Do you think that's like consensus? Would anyone do any other way where they would leave the configuration in? Or would you want to take it out?
I think it depends on what it is. If it's a feature where you're just kind of rolling out new features that you're kind of not sure of, or maybe it's not quite finished, you maybe want to put a configuration in some feature type, for example, and whether that's out, stable, released, yeah, like George said, you get rid of it. And if it's a feature that you might want to turn off because maybe there's certain times of the day that it experiences high demand, so you want to just turn that feature off because it creates a high server load, or for whatever reason, you might want to keep that as an enduring toggle. So sometimes you want to toggle features on and off on a permanent basis. Sometimes it's just for the method of getting stuff out. Case by case.
So, the key points, the test bits from the AngularConnect conference. So there was a good spread of depth and level of all the talks. So it's a great conference for all levels of developers to go to. And it's a compact and full 2-day conference. Is a lot to commit to. So it's great that there's a good variety of things to go to keep you engaged.
One thing that was apparent was AngularConnect are fully supported by meetups such as this one. During the intervals, community lunches took place where they spoke of how to create your own or how to join existing ones near you.
And the framework is very much alive and kicking. It might not be the JavaScript flavor of the day, but there's a lot of active development going on. Also, the fact that over 600 internal Google projects are running with Angular now, you can count on it staying very active. Yeah. And so this QR code and link to the notes from each workshop and video from each workshop that we post in the day. And that video that we showed you earlier, there's links in there to the repos. So if you wanted to download that tool and set it up for yourself so you can have a play with it, it's in there.
Thank you. Thank you.
Cool. Cheers, guys.
Is there any questions?
I take it you.
What's the
you
big
go back.
difference next year?
As far as,
As attending the conference, like, what would you do now that you didn't do like this time? What would you do next time?
There's a lot going on, so it's hard to, you're really picking and choosing what you want to go to. So, it's kind of, you could like split up and gather notes, but we went to a few workshops that were good, and we went to another few workshops that weren't very good. So we went to one about Angular material, and we just didn't feel like we really wanted to do a workshop. And they did some things they didn't really anticipate the popularity of some things. So there was a couple of things, I think it was one of the RxJS talks, the room was tiny, and it was absolutely packed.
standing around the side and everything, and they had to close the doors and people were waiting outside.
And then the main talk in the auditorium, everyone to be attention. Sort of speakers with it.
Yeah, that's what speakers back. Yeah, there's more seats in the middle. So, I saw that at AngularConnect, some of the actual main speakers were outside the rooms after they'd done their talk, and because we were trying to get to the talks, we went past a few. But maybe next time I'll probably want to stay and be around them and maybe ask them questions. Because there was in the retro gaming room, sometimes they'll just hang around in there, and you'll see like on passing, you see a crowd of people just around, just listening to them, just talking and asking questions. So that was pretty cool. I never got to experience that, as I said, because I was just going from talk to talk or workshop.
Not too much really. We've done quite a lot. And to just see what Angular brings next year, I guess.
I've got released that.
Yeah, either want to release like something new or just iteration of Ivy. So.
What about your components? Was it anything? I know there was still kind of way into Ivy to make it easier to create web components, the Angular elements basically.
Yeah.
Was there anything?
Yes, so they talked about that at the same time as they were talking about Ivy. It was in the same. It was in the keynote talk. And so one of the goals of Angular is to not just be for enterprise, but for big, little tiny website and things like that as well. That's what they're going for. So once they've reduced the size, then hopefully they'll be able to appeal to more different projects.
More smaller projects. Turnaround projects.
Anything about Angular 1?
Apparently 50, so there's over 600 projects from Google that are on Angular 2+. But so Angular JS, it's still, they've got 50% of stuff still on there.
Oh, well,
We're still updating it, aren't they?
definitely 117 is the latest.
117.
Yeah, it's gonna be end of life is in 2020.
So they say. But I'm hearing that the Angular JS is becoming more like Angular, like how it's doing. Structured.
The components basically, they try to make it easier if you are on 1.17, for example, make it easier to migrate to Angular. Yeah.
Any other questions? Thank you guys.
Thank you. What was the food like? It's alright, you know.
Food was good.
Yeah, good food.
Yeah, food was good. Yeah.
Good
Good spread on.